Adriano, late Ribeiro. What are your memories of this legend? For me, it's playing Pro Evolution Soccer 6. Konami turned him into a monster. Almost the perfect player who could score in just 6 seconds. It was a total cheat code. And then there were his performances for Fiorentina, Parma, Inter, and the Brazilian national team. This guy is a living legend. Recently, shocking footage surfaced around the world. Adriano went back to the favelas, just hanging out with friends, drinking, playing dominoes, and enjoying life. A ton of media outlets started blowing up the same narrative, like, oh no, back to depression and alcohol problems. But that's all false and media manipulation. This is how Adriano finds happiness. As paradoxical as it sounds, I'm about to share the whole truth I've uncovered about the past and present of the Emperor. That's what they called and still call this football legend. Hey everybody, I'm Ivan and welcome to the channel. Here we always pause the game in search of truth and interesting stories. Today we are talking about a player who was ranked alongside Ronaldo Nazario. And it's gonna be an exciting journey. You're in the middle circle, let's kick it off. What's the phenomenon of this footballer? That's probably the perfect way to frame the question about Adriano's career. The answer comes from the ex-player himself in a letter to his hometown favela, published on November 12th this year in the Players' Tribune. Football's biggest waste. Me. I like that word, waste. Not only because of how it sounds, but because I'm obsessed with wasting my life. I'm fine like this, in frantic waste. I enjoy this stigma, writes the retired footballer. Adriano is in a certain state. This state is called nostalgia. He lives in constant longing for the past. The ghost of his former days now always haunts the player and explains his life choices. On August 11th, 2000, Inter Milan bought the new Brazilian diamond for 13 million euros. Big money at the time. Adriano had only played one season of professional football and already such success. In 1999, at the age of 17, he signed his first pro contract, and 2 years later, one of the biggest clubs in the world with Adriano's idol, Ronaldo Nazario, came for him. In the 2000-2001 season, our hero nailed 10 goals in 26 games. He was just 18, and Brazilian fans were already seeing in him the new Ronaldo. His speed, technique, and ability to score from anywhere convinced everyone he was the future king of football. This is how the guy started out. After arriving at Inter, he scored an impressively powerful goal in a friendly match against Real Madrid. I said to myself, he's the new Ronaldo. He has everything: physique, talent, speed. Legendary Javier Zanetti recounted in an interview. The move to Internazionale was a great stepping stone for the player. But even Ronaldo's mentorship didn't help him much in his first season. He played just the second half of the 01-02 season, having only 205 minutes in 8 games and scoring just once. So, a loan to Fiorentina was seen as understandable and necessary for a quicker adaptation to the world's strongest league. Yes, back in the early 2000s, Serie A had some of the most star-studded teams and clubs. Adriano remembers that time well because he spent half a year with his idol and learned a lot from Ronaldo. Ronaldo gave me hints on how to play smart on the pitch and how to win the crowd. His playful spirit was super important to make me feel at home. The lessons from Ronaldo Nazario clearly paid off during his time at Fiorentina and later at Parma, in another loan. For Fiorentina, he played 15 matches, scoring 6 goals and providing 1 assist, becoming a key player in just 20 years old. For Parma, he had a full 2002-2003 season with 32 games, 17 goals, and 3 assists, plus a full-fledged star status in Serie A. Inter had just sold Ronaldo to Real Madrid, and the fans couldn't wait to see the rise of the new king. The 03-04 season had Adriano split between Parma and Inter, racking up even more impressive stats: 31 matches, 21 goals, and 4 assists. The 04-05 season was Adriano's first full season at Inter, and he hit his absolute peak. 42 matches, 28 goals and 5 assists. Back then, he scored 10 goals and had 4 assists in the Champions League. He was a galactic superstar. Every club wanted him, and a year before the World Cup, Adriano shone at the Confederations Cup, where he became the top scorer with 5 goals and the tournament's best player. But then, something unexpected happened. An event occurred after which Adriano was never as powerful anymore. It's worth passing the word back to the captain and legend of Inter, Javier Zanetti. Adriano had a father who watched him a lot and knew how to reframe him. But before the start of the season, the unimaginable happens. We called him from Brazil, and he received one of the pieces of news that can change you forever. Adriano, father is dead. I saw him sobbing, throwing away the phone and screaming like crazy. Maratti and I, since that day, have taken him under our protection, like a little brother. During this time, he played, scored, and dedicated his goals to his father by raising his eyes and hands to the sky. Indeed, Adriano played the following season on emotion and ended it with a fairly decent numbers. 47 matches, 19 goals and 7 assists. However, inside, he was already dead. Zanetti shared that he and another Latin American player, Colombian Ivan Cordoba, spent evenings trying to rekindle Adriano's motivation. But since that phone call, he has never been the same. We spent entire evenings with Cordoba encouraging him. We failed. We couldn't take the depression away, and it still hurts. At the same time, the Inter captain didn't realize that Adriano's issues ran much deeper and weren't just about his father's death. Here's what the Brazilian wrote in his letter to his hometown favela about the depression that haunted him in Milan. This is a really important point I want to highlight. When I went to Inter, I felt a very strong blow in the first winter. Christmas came and I stayed in my apartment alone. It's freezing cold in Milan. That depression that hits during the freezing months in northern Italy. Everyone in dark clothes. The deserted streets. The days are very short. The weather is wet. I didn't feel like doing anything, man. All this combined with homesickness, and I felt like shit. Still, Seedorf was an amazing friend. He and his wife made supper for those closest to them on Christmas Eve and invited me. Wow, this brother has a great level. Imagine the Christmas reception at his house, an elegance that you gotta see. Everything was really beautiful and delicious. But truth to be told, I wanted to be in Rio de Janeiro. I didn't even spend much time with them. I apologized, said goodbye quickly, and went back to my apartment. I called home. Hi mom, Merry Christmas, I said. My son, I miss you. Merry Christmas. Everyone is here, the only one missing is you, she replied. Are you okay, my son? Yes, I just came back from a friend's house. Oh, so have you already had dinner? Mom is still setting the table. There will even be pastries today. Damn, that was a low blow. Grandma's pastry is the best in the world. I cried a fucking lot. I started sobbing. Okay, mom, enjoy then. Have a good dinner. Don't worry, everything is fine here. I was broken. I grabbed a bottle of vodka. I'm not exaggerating, bro. I drank all that shit alone. I filled my ass with vodka. I cried all night. I passed out on the couch because I drank so much and cried. It was Adriano's first winter in Milan, and he was never the same again. The Brazilian always longed for home. That's just who he is. He loved his dad, mom, friends, and his hometown favelas. That was his world center. No amount of money or football fame was ever his goal. He just wanted to help his parents and loved ones to escape poverty, and he eventually achieved that. Now let's listen to what Adriano said in a video interview with Players Tribune a few years back.
Quando eu voltei da Europa, né? E eu peguei um tempo pra mim, né? Ninguém entendeu. Adriano, larga milhão. Não quero saber. O importante é você saber ser feliz, cara. Não importa dinheiro. É óbvio que o dinheiro ajuda nós pra gente sobreviver, ajudar nossas famílias, né? E a felicidade tua? É muito mais fácil ter felicidade com dinheiro ou ser feliz com você mesmo? com a tua família? Eu preferi tá bem comigo, com a minha família.
Now, do you get it? It was always about the longing for home. Back then, Adriano surrendered the throne at Inter Milan to Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who highly valued the Brazilian's talent.
I mean, I played with great champions. I played with players that already was wow. I played with players that I saw was a talent, became wow. But the one I felt that could do it longer was, and he didn't do it, was Adriano. Because the way he was an animal. He could shoot from every angle. Nobody could tackle him. Nobody could take the ball. He was a pure animal. But it lasted for a short time.
But Adriano always didn't care about the beast inside him. He just wanted to feel happy. In 2009, Adriano returned to Flamengo and briefly revived his career. In 8 matches, he scored 4 goals and had 2 assists, even getting called up to the national team again. But the excess weight was showing, and Adriano couldn't get back into the shape that made him one of the best strikers in the world, like he was in 2004-2005 season. On top of that, there were legal issues. Specifically, Adriano was accused of being involved in drug trafficking in 2010, since people around him were indeed involved in that. In short, life in his homeland was wild. Somehow, he found himself back in Italy, at Roma. Here are some questions for the Brazilian. His career wrapped up along the routes of Corinthians, Flamengo, Atlético Paranaense. There was also an interesting story about a career revival at Miami United, but Adriano never played in a single official match there. Now, Adriano is really enjoying himself. It's enough to check out his Instagram to see how happy this guy is. He's publishing his autobiography, spending a lot of time with friends and his 3 kids. Yes, Adriano loves to drink. He even has a catchphrase that he often uses in his Instagram posts. Even a horse couldn't handle that load. If you see this phrase in the ex-footballer's posts, know that he definitely partied and drank with friends. Adriano isn't living in poverty, as some media outlets project. He hasn't hit the rock bottom. He lives in a luxurious apartment that he earned during his brilliant but short career. And he's leveraging his bad habits to his advantage. He became the face of the Imperador Cognac, advertises betting, and thanks to his recognition, his native favela, Villa Cruzeiro, recently got a new football field sponsored by Adidas. And what do you think about the following fresh story about our hero? In 2022, he married Micaela Mesquita, but spent just 24 days in marriage. Incredible! Undoubtedly, Adriano isn't perfect, but I hasn't seen a happier ex-footballer in a long time. He lives for enjoyment and is honest with himself. Like what he said in his letter, I like that word waste. Not only because of how it sounds, because I'm obsessed with wasting my life. I'm fine like this, in frantic waste. I enjoy this stigma. Here's how Adriano is living now and what happened to his career. I've broken down all the reasons for you so you can understand this phenomenal and brilliant footballer. If it were up to him, he'd probably play for his favela team, Villa Cruzeiro, his whole life. Friends, I'd really appreciate your support for this channel. Drop a like, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. It's super important for helping the channel grow and bringing you more videos. By the way, have you checked out the last video about Beckham and Ronaldinho's failed transfers? Highly recommend it. So, subscribe and stay tuned for the Middle Circle channel. As for me, I'm off to prepare a new, exciting episode for you. Or maybe I'll go hang out with Adriano? Haven't decided yet. Bye bye.